Welcome to the Body Love Revolution online summit, building a better relationship with your body. Today, I have a wonderful guest, Rebecca Richards. Let me tell you a little bit about Rebecca. Rebecca is a qualified kinesiologist, teacher, and mentor with over 30 years of experience, and 25 of those years running her own private practice. After a life-changing cancer diagnosis, she discovered kinesiology's transformative power and has since empowered thousands through one-on-one sessions, online groups, and mentorship programs. Based in the beautiful Whitsundays in Queensland, Rebecca is dedicated to guiding others towards clarity and holistic well-being. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me today, Emma.
So wonderful to have you. And for all of our listeners, Rebecca is actually my kinesiologist. And last year, at the back end of the year, we had 3 sessions in a relatively short amount of time, which was incredibly helpful for my own healing, but mostly my relationship with my body. So, Rebecca, I was just so happy that you said yes to joining us today. So, for all of our guests, I think we need to kind of, before we start to get into our relationship with our body and kinesiology, are you happy to share what kinesiology is and how you work with it with your clients?
Kinesiology it's a type of natural therapy. It's very different here in Australia and parts of Europe compared to what it is over in America and Canada. So in America and Canada, it's very sports orientated. It's a degree to become a qualified kinesiologist over there. Here in Australia and in parts of Europe, it's gone down a different track where it starts to work with the muscles of the body plus the Chinese meridian system of the body. So we work with different muscles and different meridians and how they marry together. Kinesiology means, or kinesi is movement and ology is study of. So it's the study of movement of energy, of chi, of the way people walk, talk, express themselves, the chi in their bodies, the chi in their organs, systems, and so on. And what we do is we use muscle monitoring or biofeedback to work with the client to sort of say to a client, what's going on in your body, in your psyche, in your mental state, emotions, your spirit, and what can we do to bring remedy to what's going on. So I may get, say, 5 different clients in 1 week come and see me, and they all are coming along for the same reason, which might be anxiety, for example. And what we do is we work with each person individually. We don't sort of go, okay, this is the cause for anxiety overall. We work with the anxiety being the body's expression of imbalance. And then we use muscle monitoring biofeedback to ask each individual body, what's going on? Why are you expressing yourself in this way? What's out of balance? Where are you holding that? But most importantly, what is the remedy or the catalyst to shift you out of this imbalanced expression? So each client, even though I'm working with 5 of the 5 people saying they've got the same thing, each person as to why they're expressing imbalance in that way, how they've gotten there, and what their remedy is will all be different. And so kinesiology is able to tap into the person's subconscious and body and chi, their energy, and say to their body what's going on and why. And we use biofeedback to do that. So it's muscle testing, muscle monitoring.
Yeah. It's quite magical though, from my experience.
Yes.
Each session, and particularly what comes out of it, I almost like say the prescription or the medicine that you've given me, it has been different each time. But I really appreciate the way it is a very holistic approach that helps shift you from that imbalance. I find that really, really powerful. When it comes to our relationship with our body, our theme for this whole summit, I wanted to ask you, how can kinesiology empower women in midlife to embrace physical changes and reconnect their inner strength? Because as we know in midlife, things
Yeah.
are changing. And if we use even the word imbalance, which is the beautiful reason why we would go to a kinesiologist, and particularly women in midlife. What are your thoughts about this, the physical changes and then reconnecting a woman in midlife? How important is it for us to nurture ourselves in this time? Not that it's any more important than any other time in our life, but our women today that are listening are midlife women. So can
Yes.
you share some wisdom on
Oh,
this?
this is an area that I love to work with. And what I noticed very early on in clinic, I've been in clinic for 25 years, and what I was noticing very early on is I would see this shift for women take place in their late 30s, early 40s. At the time, I didn't know it was perimenopause. I didn't know it was this change that was going on in women's bodies. You know, come back the last 10 years, I can really see where we start to energetically change alongside the hormones. What I find, and my favorite clientele are women in that, that portal, that are navigating this incredible portal, which we call perimenopause, menopause, and midlife. What's going on in our bodies is we are rewiring our whole system. Our brain is rewiring, our nervous system is rewiring, and our hormonal system is rewiring. And what I find is so beautiful is working with kinesiology is such a great way of balancing the body as it's going through this evolution. We can't stop it. We cannot stop it. We can bring things in that can support us or shift this or change this. But, and even with women that I work with that are choosing to use things like HRT or marinas or different things like that, we still cannot avoid the fact that we are going through a spiritual evolution as well as our physical body. So I have found, for me personally and for me as a practitioner in clinic, that kinesiology is so beneficial to supporting women as their bodies are going through this enormous transformation. And again, everyone's remedy is very different, even though we're all going through this similar portal, this milestone that we all have to go through. So it's what can also happen in menopause and this midlife as well for women is there is this you begin to see parts of the self that we've pushed down or suppressed or put to the back burner, and that starts to come to the surface. And again, I find that kinesiology is amazing at being able to integrate, okay, you've put that on the back burner long enough, or you've dealt with that long enough, let's bring it to the surface and gently work with supporting the body, the spirit, the mind into being in more balance, so that you're able to journey this part of our lives and come out through that where you are able to reach being your potential, rather than becoming solid and solidified in the stories or the trauma or the experiences that we haven't healed from.
That is brilliant. So many things I want to say about this. I feel that's where kinesiology, for me, in my own experience working with you, it really is the spiritual and the emotional side. Yes, one of our sessions, I came to you with the kidney stone business, which was very much playing out as a physical thing in my body. However, when we working with you and the beautiful process, which is so kind, supportive, loving, but truthful.
Yes.
And the truthful process that you took me through and could hold me in a place where I could start to see, because I understand what you mean by that, becoming rigid or solidify was the word that you use. And this is the thing, when we get to midlife, we can keep doing what we've always done, which is push stuff down and, keep carrying on. Or we can take this quest into the next part of midlife
Yeah.
from the spiritual place and say, okay, I know that if I continue, and in my situation, if I continue with, and I'll share what Rebecca helped me land with the emotion around the kidney stone for me was very much about uh, being critical, being criticizing myself, criticizing others, being in this criticizing emotion. So I could continue staying in being in this emotion of criticizing. And even if I think back to early in my 30s, or even a theme that I've had in my life, criticizing has been probably a really big, what would we say? How would I say it? I want to say Achilles heel,
Yeah.
perhaps,
Yeah.
through my life. So then to work with you and then talk about that. And first I went to you because it literally manifested into a kidney stone.
Yeah.
And then because I come, oh, the kidney stone, but hang on a moment, what is, where have you become rigid? What is
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
emotion? And would you say that would be, I mean, that's my take on it. What would you say? Is that how you seen it?
As in the kidney stone,
Yes.
or
And the oh, I should probably put a little bit more of a story to that. Also the criticizing connected to my body, how I've
yeah,
criticized my body.
yeah,
Yeah, my
yeah.
body story. I don't know if I've asked the question right there,
That's
Rebecca.
okay. Because what I can follow on from that as well is that when we look at the kidney stone that you were dealing with, and I could work with 5 people that have kidney stones, and their story around that's all different. But if we're going specifically with your example, is the criticism for you had become a behavior. It had become what we call a pain behavior. So, and if when we look at the kidney, so each part of our body, our organs, different areas of our body, they have what we call mind-body connection. And the kidneys are our area of how we relate to ourselves. They are our deepest connection of our relationship to ourselves. So it's often when we hide a lot of things, the first sort of, a lot of our emotions that we feel are often in our heart or in our gut, but the kidneys are what really store old pain behaviors and things. So what had happened with you with that particular stone is that solidification of the behavior that you had become friends with, or that had just lived in the body, dropped in. It had dropped in and manifested in the kidneys as a stone. So often what happens with pain behaviors or emotions is they sit outside of the body to start with. They sit in our energy field or our meridian system or our chakra system. And if they're not dealt with or processed, they then start to make their way into and have physical forms in the body. That's how we see it in natural therapy, in energy medicine.
Yes. Well, I certainly experienced that. And when we went through that process, I could track back and absolutely know the constant rejection of my body and diet culture and the constant criticism. My body was never ever good enough, hence this constant seeking for a diet or the next best thing to change this body. And I can see how, and it was really when I started to open my eyes around the diet culture that of course this kidney stone almost went, I'm here because now it's time to look at it. And thankfully working with you, able to look at what that emotion was. And look, it doesn't mean that I may never get another kidney stone because I'm still daily working with the emotion of criticism,
Yes, yes,
self-criticism,
yeah.
but it's a great guiding post. And that's what I love about kinesiology and your process is the whole process. No stones, pardon the pun, no stones left unturned.
Oh,
Now, I did want to ask, in what ways does kinesiology help women develop a positive, transformative relationship with their body? How do you see
yeah.
that play out when someone, I mean, is there a woman on this planet that doesn't perhaps have an interesting relationship with their body? But do you see that often in clinic?
Definitely. It really, and the thing, it's so layered as well. So it's not just how women relate to themselves in their own body. but it's also, we can sometimes energetically hold how our ancestors have felt about their own body, and then society as well. So what I really love to do when I work with clients is make sure that when I'm working with an individual, that we do a lot of clearing around genetic lineage and genetic stories, so that when I'm working with the individual, that we work with their story with their body, and not this accumulative relationship that they have picked up from their mum or their sisters, or their grandparents, or just this whole backward lineage. We want to make sure to do some balancing and healing around genetics and our ancestors, plus also making us more strong, making us stronger in our own energy field, so that we are less receptive to mass consciousness.
Yeah.
So, for example, what we're seeing on social media, what is sold to us is beautiful. We want to make sure that that when I'm working with that client, that we've worked through those layers first, so that then we can work with that individual's relationship with themselves.
Yeah. Yes, that makes sense, because like particularly talking about women, our mothers and our grandmothers, for most of us, and further back, have played a massive role in, and speaking from my own experience, played a massive role in my relationship to my body, relationship to self, and relationship to food.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I can only
yes.
imagine in the kinesiologist field, even you take it back further.
Oh, it's and just I see it as well. If I can go a little bit out there, a
Mm,
little bit here without
please
going too
do.
far out,
Mm,
is another thing that I see with clients as well. I've had that recently in clinic with someone that I was working with, is that especially when we're lacking in really good foundations and cornerstones in our body minerally, we are more susceptible to what other people think, and society as well. It really is big, and that's a part that I am really strong at working with women, and I often put it as one of my hashtags in Instagram, is own yourself. Own yourself, being your own sovereign being, owning that, yes, I come from a lineage of this, or society is doing this, but having that in balance where you own who you are.
mm,
So you are less susceptible to the mass consciousness, you are less susceptible to the genetic stories, and you are able to then build on your own inner relationship with yourself, and really feel empowered as well to make changes with things if you're not liking certain things in
yeah.
the body. Like if there's certain parts on your legs, well, let's start walking. Let's work with giving you the energy and the motivation and the inspiration to actually physically get out there and let's do something about it, and feel really excited about it, rather than this feeling on the shoulders, you're never enough, never good enough, never beautiful enough, skinny enough, curvy enough, whatever it is that the goal is.
Yeah.
So yeah, a big part of my work is that really owning who you are, and the sovereignty, which is letting go of that, the mass consciousness, and the genetic stories.
This is brilliant, Rebecca. This has been, I spoke to Al McBride yesterday, who's very much on your vibe. And I think this is where the spiritual work, which is yourself and Al, two guests on this summit, where the spiritual work is an absolute must if we are going to take responsibility for ourselves, without a doubt. Because if we are handing it over to the Instagram, the diet, the da 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 da, we're so unconscious, and we're fighting a losing battle. And the biggest aha moment, I've learned so much on this summit, and you just speaking then is exactly my new aha moment. So I've always had this little saying, you can't go from self-loathing to self-love. You need to get to self-respect. But here's the new thing that I've just picked up, and you've just said it then. Self-respect, yes, wonderful, but it needs to be self-reliant. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what you're saying. Actually, if we're going to be our own sovereign being and we have to rely on ourselves. And exactly that, I still, on a daily basis, or maybe every other day, still have a desire to be in a smaller body, still have a desire. And, it takes all of my consciousness and kindness to myself to say, Emma, diet, do not give your power away, but you can be self-reliant. Exactly what you're saying there, Rebecca. It is up to me to say, and you use the word inspiration, excited, not from the critical Emma that I'm coming from the empowered Emma that says,
Yeah.
you can trust yourself, Emma. I can
Yes.
rely on you. You are
Yeah.
self-reliant. If you have a desire, whatever that is, to be stronger, and now, my new saying is it's strong, not slim.
Yes.
It changing that
Yeah.
mindset, because before it was always about slim, it was always about thin, it was always about skinny, but it's not. It's self-reliant. I can trust myself, and you are safe in your own hands. Because for years I've felt like I've not been, because the critic, I have turned my back on myself so many times. I've given the power away, and I think that is exactly it. And how kinesiology supports that is because it's saying you now can rely on yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and owning yourself. And this is whether I'm talking to, our age group, our age bracket, or whether I'm working with a young teenager, it really does come down to this accepting this is who I am, this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm going to do with it. We call it sabotage. We call it conflict or sabotage. And whenever sabotage or conflict comes up, it's because that person is not accepting where they are. I'll only accept myself when I look like that, or I can get into that clothing, or I'm with that boyfriend, or I'm getting that job, or whatever it is. And it really is about, let's accept where it is, sovereign, own it, and let's do something with it. Let's do something about it and with it and feel good about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like society and our lineage and even just the whole, what do we call it, just how women have been treated. Not that I'm bashing men or anything. It is all been to the absolute opposite of that.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, I'm finally waking up
Yes.
and saying no more. And even, I was listening to, there's a book, one of the regrets of the dying is around not being yourself. And this is a thing, when we're doing this, we're not ourself, when we're not relying on ourself, when we're not owning ourself, in your beautiful words, owning ourself, we are not being ourself. We, like you said, I'll be, when I've got the job, when I've got the clothes, when I've got the boyfriend, when I've got the house, whatever it is, but
Yep.
you're not being yourself. Because it says I
Yes.
can't be myself until I'm that.
Yeah, and I'm not acceptable until I'm that. I'm not lovable. I'm not acceptable or lovable when I am just as I am.
And how many times have we got the car, the house, the boyfriend, the clothes, and still, and it's
No,
empty?
yeah, it's not enough. And this is the thing. This is it. I love social media. I love AI. We were talking about it earlier before we started
Yeah.
recording. It's amazing, but it is also very much around consumerism. You're not enough if you get this, if you do this, if you have this, then you'll be this, then you'll be that. And you even see it if you Google something like spotted socks, or some random thing, and then your cookies has picked that up and it's trying to sell you. Everything is trying to get sold. So we're in a world of consumerism where we are told externally that buy this, do this, do this, add on. And often it's about stripping back and being with the bare bones of what we have and who we are, and being accepting, because only can we love ourselves is when we accept it.
Yeah. And that is, I believe, my lifelong work, and probably a lot of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And midlife is a great opportunity for that. And which I love. I love that midlife is another opportunity for us, because if I
yeah.
speak from my own experience, the busyness of raising children, now I'm coming back home again, and I've now
Yeah.
got some time and space, and I can either, like you say, solidify and stay rigid and
Yes.
inflexible
Yes.
and
And my
be,
stories.
Yes, and stick with my stories, lead with my stories, give
Yeah,
you a good
yeah,
story that's goddamn boring,
yeah,
or I
yeah,
can choose to go on the quest
yeah,
per se.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And own all of who I am and accept that and love that. And then again, that responsibility. Well, it's, well, what can you do about it? It's okay. So for me, for example, it's, I'm going to be honest here, I'm 49, 50 this year. And for me, my body's changed a lot. In clothes, I'm still very small, but living in the Whitsundays, you're in lots of small clothes a lot of the time. And, instead of me sort of looking and going, I'm not happy with this, going, well, what are you going to do about it? It's about accepting it. Accept that you're aging. Accept that your body is not toned anymore. Accept it. Okay, I'm accepting that. Then I'm going to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I have been. So, and I walk. I live on top of the hill, so I've been walking up and down the hill and going to the gym for a couple of
Yeah.
years now. So it's about, you can't just stay in here wishing and wanting and projecting. It's going, I'm going to own this and go, okay, well, what can I do about that? I
Yeah.
accept this part, I accept the wrinkles, or accept that the skin tone's changing and things, but I can change the fact that I can build muscle, I can get stronger.
Yes. Yeah. And that is absolutely that self-reliance and self-responsibility.
Yes.
And stop the madness of throwing money at things that are going to give you what you want. It's false economy, and it's,
Yeah.
you're only going to get yourself in a, and this is my experience, get yourself in a worse off position. It
Yes.
is about that self-reliance and almost stopping a lot of the noise and just coming back in home. Now,
Yes.
Rebecca, you have a beautiful little methodology, which is keep things simple. Don't overestimate small steps in life. Can you share a little bit about keeping things simple and not overestimating that? Don't overestimate the small steps in life.
Definitely. This is often my motto, because especially as women, we do a lot. There's a lot going on, whether it's, still raising kids and running businesses, or, work and home and partners and socializing and exercising and drinking water and doing all of the things that we've got to be doing. It's, don't underestimate that doing something really simple for yourself can have quite a profound effect. One example of that can be, drinking enough water. Drinking enough filtered water is, if you're having a couple of liters of beautiful, clean, filtered water, is essential for our well-being, our brain health, our muscles, our, digestive system, our skin. Um, I often see, I was talking to someone the other day about bringing in a spiritual practice, and it was coming up for her, that it was important that a part of her homework was she had to do a spiritual practice. What we're sold on social media is a spiritual practice is, it could be an hour, it could be looking beautiful on the yoga mat, doing all of the things, or, looking at a beautiful sunrise, having a beautiful herbal tea. I always say to people, that's great if you can extend and you have that time in the morning. But if you don't have it, start your spiritual practice off where it's 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes where you just take in a couple of deep breaths and you connect in with yourself and you think to yourself, what am I really, really grateful for in this moment? What are 3 things I'm grateful for? And that has a change on our chemistry in our brain. Or it could be something where we spend 2 minutes doing the square breath, in breath, hold, out breath, hold, in breath, doing that for 2 minutes, or pulling an oracle card, or having a cup of tea and just being outside and connecting with our senses, noticing what you're seeing, noticing what you're smelling, what you're hearing, how the air feels. So really connecting in and just spending 2 minutes doing that, because I think what we can do is overcomplicate things, taking a really long time. It's this, the things of what our ancestors would often do, where it is about basic cooking, having very basic meals. If you you're struggling to put something on the table, cook some eggs and have that on some beautiful toast or on some beautiful sweet potato rosties or something. It's keep things really simple. If you've got a lot on your plate, what is it that you can cut off that makes you feel a little bit more relaxed? Is it that social thing that you've got on the Friday night? Just say no to it. Give yourself permission to have that time off. For me, something I do, I'm just thinking, do I tell you the whole lot of this? Am I going to be really honest? Because it's really cringy, but I'm going to say it anyway, right?
Come on, let me cringe.
It's a bit embarrassing. But every single night without fail, I make sure that by 7 p.m., everything's done. Yes, I could still do some things in my business. Yes, I could still fold those things out of the dryer, clean this, do all blah, blah, blah. There's always things to do, but 7 p.m. every night, I'm done. And the lights are down, everyone's quiet, kitchen's done, and I watch Home and Away.
I love it. So Rebecca
Oh my
Richards is
God.
the #1 fan of Summer Bay.
So, and I think the reason I love that is because it gives me that time where I go, right, I'm done. Because as we know, women's work is never done. The old saying is a man will work from sun to sun, a woman's work is never done. And our work is never finished. So I think, again, coming back to that simplicity, it's just having these really beautiful routines rather than feel like, oh, I've got to do everything. Like last night, I had so much I had to do. And I thought, you know what? No, I am going to sit down and I'm going to watch this show. I don't even know if I like the show, but I do it because it just becomes that routine for me, is that simplicity of just zoning out, lights down, and having some downtime. Having a shower. Like if you're feeling stressed or anything, have a shower. It's just those simple things. We can often feel like, oh, I have to go and spend this money and do this to feel this thing. No, if you just take care of the very small things, hydration, good food, rest, good sleep, having some, time where the lights are off and you're not constantly in blue light all the time, making sure that the sun hits your eyeballs in the morning without your glasses on so that it can set the circadian rhythm. Those things I'm a huge fan of. We cannot balance, as a kinesiologist, we cannot balance a person to those things. Those things have to be kind of done. I work with hydration with the client, but if they're not drinking enough water, there's not much I can do about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. So it is the simple things. And I think this again leans into our Instagram, which has romanticized these. And if I hear self-care one more time, I'll lose my mind. Romanticize these things. But at the end of the day, they do not have to be complicated. It's taking a little moment for you, because it is really easy to bombard ourselves all day. Particularly, most of us have a phone in their hand. I mean, it even astounds me how many of us go to the toilet with our phone.
Yes, yes,
Like,
yes.
what even is that? How is
Yeah.
it that we have arrived where we are trying to squeeze every bit of consuming of content or connecting with someone when we can't even go and do a poo in peace? What the hell?
Yeah. And having an awareness of what the body's doing, like what is the bowel movement looking like? It's that switching off and that disconnect from being aware and conscious.
Yeah. And this is how far we've gotten from ourselves.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
look, I'm speaking from experience here. I'm
Oh,
not pointing the finger.
no.
How is this that we have taken the bait?
Yeah,
Yeah, the lure has got us
yeah,
big time.
yeah,
Yeah. So and I feel like this is the better relationship with our body and ourself,
yeah.
is the constant reminder that we need, because we have all got a little far off the track. I believe it would be a rare person that is listening to this and goes, oh no, I don't take my phone to the toilet. Excuse me, bet you do.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I have to remind my children, I've got 2 teenage kids of, each should put your phone down when you're having your breakfast,
Yeah.
stop that. I mean, that's not allowed at the dinner table when we're eating as a family, which we do every night. But it's, I was watching my son this morning as he was getting ready for school, and he's on his phone, and I'm like, put that down, like just be with your food, just be
Yeah.
present with what
Yeah.
you've just cooked for yourself, and just be that, rather than that constant numbing out of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming back to and not overlooking that simple is really important.
Yeah. And
And
I
I
think
think
that's
things can feel overwhelming where you go, oh my God, everything's overwhelming. Simplify it. Well, what is one thing I can do today? I can make sure I have 30 grams of protein every meal, or I can make sure that I'm getting my 2 liters of water for the day. Just keep it simple.
yeah. I love
Mm.
this methodology. I think this is the message as well as the self-reliant. Because again, back to that, it ties into self-reliant. Keep it simple. You can only rely on yourself for this simplicity. And I love that. 30 grams of protein with each meal and hydration.
Absolutely. And that for me, especially when I'm working, is what keeps me really grounded and stable.
Yeah.
I had a client say to me the other day, he said, how do you manage dealing with so much stress that clients come with? And I said, well, I have to really look after myself. I have to make sure I'm hydrated, and I have to make sure I have really good meals, and look after myself in that way, so that I can hold myself in my own energy, and therefore then hold the client in that space as well.
Yeah.
So, and I've learned that the hard way. These lessons are really learned the hard way. I've had chronic fatigue twice, once at the back end of having cancer. So, and that really came down to me is not eating enough and not eating the right foods, really, when I look back at that and have the awareness now.
Yeah. Yeah. Hard lesson. However, yeah,
Yeah.
you got the message. Did not
Yes.
quite the first time, second time though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Did you
Yeah.
not get that lesson, Emma? But this
Yeah.
is yeah, this is part of it. But that beautiful self-reliant is brilliant. Rebecca, I would love for you to share with our beautiful listeners
Mhm.
where they can find you, your beautiful group mentoring program. You also have some lovely group kinesiology and also your one-on-one. Are you happy to share? And for everyone, it will be in the show notes, but I'd love for Rebecca to share what she's got happening in 2025.
Yes. So this year, currently, I've just moved into my beautiful new purpose-built studio a couple of weeks ago in the Whitsundays, and I work with clients one-on-one. People can purchase a one-off session and just have that with me, or they can purchase a package where they get 20% off 3 sessions. And I work with people in person, and I work with people online. So you can see me wherever you may be, in this country or within the world. I work with people overseas as well. I also offer, and have been doing for the last 6 months, is group online kinesiology sessions. And they're always themed. So I will drop the theme and the dates a couple of weeks before, and you can buy a seat, which costs $44. And you can there's two different dates. You can pick one or the other. People come along, about 50% come along live, and the other 50% watch the recording. And we work some great things. And I'm finding what's happening is a lot of people are doing a lot of the one-on-one work with me, and in between they're doing the group sessions as well, and having that sort of top up. You can find me on my website, which is www.rebecca-richards.com.au. And I'm on Instagram, which is _ Rebecca Richards _. And there you can find my product page, because I sell my own elemental products, and my studio page. In regards to, I wish I was a little bit more refined here with my mentorship. I'm going through a bit of an evolution at the moment and fine tuning some more larger mentorship programs. So I'm hoping in the next couple of months I've got that a little bit more polished as to people being able to come in and work with me in a really long and held container. But I haven't quite honed in on that. I do business mentoring as well. So I'm a registered kinesiologist with my associations, and I do work with people in the natural therapy sector who are wanting to, have some beautiful business mentoring. So I have got that available as well.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rebecca. So for all of our ladies, all of Rebecca's links will be there, but you've caught those, but definitely follow along and see all the wonderful things you've got coming up. So maybe the mentorship might be the back end of 2025. We'll see what's
Yes,
happening there, or mid,
yes.
yeah, around there.
Yeah, there's a lot brewing here, but
Yeah.
it's just I haven't grounded it, and I was going to offer my regular mentorship program, but it's saying no, it needs to evolve into something different. So I'm just trusting what
Wonderful.
that's going to look like, which I'll hopefully know in the next 6 months.
Yeah, but I highly recommend every midlife woman should come and see Rebecca because she's
Thank
nothing short of
you.
incredible. So
Thank you.
I'm excited for our session this week. It's just such a wonderful top up, and yeah, it's brilliant. So thank you, Rebecca, and again, thank you for being on the summit. You are just an absolute wealth of knowledge and wisdom, and I really appreciate your words today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. So thank you, Emma. Okay. See you later.